KadMap, everything is a challenge. Everything. There is nowhere that was not a challenge. When we start at the beginning of the project, we had financial challenges. We had staffing challenges. We had challenges to do with even the execution of the project. I can't say there is a biggest challenge, and the reason is because the biggest challenge is yet to come. Everything we have accomplished was just one big challenge taken off the list. To begin to pick and choose is a little bit out of place for me because I saw everything. When we are looking at the technical sides, whether it is in the technology selection, how we approach problems, everything was challenging for me equal. If there is any other side, it will be the mental side of things. How do you handle such a project that must be executed? And we have so much uncertainty going on. And it's something that keeps one up at night. You just can't sleep. Thinking about how to solve problems is an everyday activity. It's a habit now, so whatever the future holds, we are not scared of it. We'll still welcome it.
I don't think we've encountered what we term the biggest challenge yet. I have seen what this team has been able to produce. At any point where they meet a roadblock, how they have been coordinated in going step by step and overcoming it. I think what we say is a challenge at this point now is getting the product out there. You can't help but have some concerns about some aspects about how it's going to turn out, but you also have that belief and confidence in what we have created here, especially the amount of time we've put in, the years that has gone into the development of this project. And so, in terms of the challenges, I guess we meet them almost on a daily basis, and we'll also do our best to overcome them.
It's very easy to find resources when you are doing application development or like web development, easy web development. Like you want to make a blog, you can find videos on this easily and materials on this easily. But as you go lower into the system, try to develop a new kind of core system, you start finding out that things are not as the same, right? You go look for materials, you won't find materials, you won't find libraries that can help you. Nothing can help you. You start finding yourself going to conferences, right? So very niche conferences, right? You start watching the founders' keynotes, so you can pick a clue, right? Going to raw computer science concepts. So you go low, you start reading books, start going back to the basics, understanding everything back to the basics again. Right? So those are some of the challenges that we face. The CEO mentioned that one of the restrictions is that we have to make KadMap as web developer compatible as possible. So we want to reduce the existing web developer developing ecosystem. So we don't want to start creating new languages or new SDKs for people to use. So that was a very strict constraint. So we have to make sure everything was compatible with web. Right? So these were some of the challenges we faced. We built KadMap in a way that it has to be very secure. Right? So every app has to be very isolated and contained. Right? And even apps are contained and separate from each other, right? And they are still in groups, which is another containment again, another abstraction of layer of abstraction that have to use containment again. So there was a battle between different isolation systems. So there was containers, there was VMs, right? And there were usually physical hardware that we had to kind of think about and worry about whether we needed each of the systems and how we needed each of the systems. It was my sole responsibility to design the KadMap flexibility protocol. My core job to do that. Right? And KadMap, and this protocol is one big KadMap. That's literally our IP, right? So this is really what makes us unique from every other network you find, right? So the protocol is what makes KadMap unique. How KadMap basically connect with each other, how packages connect with each other, how users are authenticated, how security works, how they're being distributed, how applications share data. These are what makes KadMap unique. And designing it is really tough from a mental perspective. So like I said before, these are where materials become really tough to find. You have to think from first principle, just understanding raw computer science, right? Understanding basics of information theory, right? And you have to read these things to understand the concept very clear, very clear how distributed systems work very clearly. I don't have any formal education in computer science, right? So it's me and the web resources. So we have to learn from raw materials on the web, right? It's like going back to the basics, understand everything and design a new complete system entirely. Right? So KadMap is a very highly distributed system. So this is very tough. At the same time, we didn't want it to be very tough on the developers itself. So we wanted to put all the burden on the system, right, and the machine itself, instead of putting the burden on the developer. And instead of creating APIs for you to distribute your data, we wanted it to be done at system level and keep it simple. Right? So at the end of the day, we went in the hybrid system of developers take a piece of the work, we took a piece of the work and made the whole thing work fine. If you look at the connection between one KD monitor, you see it looks like they're coming from one machine and one machine is making one request. But at the end of the day, it is being tunneled, right? There are many requests being tunneled through there. When you get to the other side, you have to route and forward them back to the right addresses. So these were tough challenges to go through. If you are familiar with technology, it's a very tough challenge to work on. And we did work on these systems and we came up with really interesting solutions to them. How do developers kind of test their application? You build an application for KadMap. How do you know if it's working in production, right? Because KadMap, it's not, you have to not work with one place. You have to work with multiple enterprises in multiple places, multiple users in multiple groups, right? There's just this like precautions that were happening, right? It's very complex, right? And how do we make this easy for developers? So this is a huge challenge that we have to kind of go through and make sure the design is clean, elegant, and really easy for developers to work with. Right? So if you come with a new server, either a compute section or a storage section, it should just automatically scale. So the way we think of it is like, we want to think of it like you have multiple machines, right? And then when you connect them together, the operating system kind of scale between them automatically. It decides automatically where each app should run as the space is required, and also forward traffic to the right one that is closest to the user request that can really handle the request. And it also helps with redundancy, both in storage and in computation. So these are all things we have to consider in the audio design. And this also added extra complexity in networking and the DevOps. That made it extra difficult, but we have passed through so many milestones before. So this one was a little easier because of the previous challenges we had passed through.
We were limited by time, so we had to convert, we had to go to GitHub, get free applications and convert free projects and convert them to KadMap applications to test it out. I'm a regular web developer, just coming from the normal world. I came to KadMap and the idea of services, I had the idea of services, broke my head a lot. I was like, man, what's this? Yeah, I want to do my web applications, right? This is my front end, this is my back end. But of course, it exists here, but you are not just saying it's one. You can find yourself writing a program to ensure two back end communicate with each other. I was not used to that. Like I said, I was coding, developing several apps and services, but at the same time I also had to work with the system architect to design several system services. We had to sit together and going front and back, and we had to make the life of incoming developers really easy. Whether they are coming to develop apps or services, we really have to make the whole system easier to use, like as easy as whatever they knew when coming there. So one other thing was I had to work with the system architect to develop the developer, to do the documentation for developers to use. So that's another challenge. Working on the KadMap client version 2, man, that was the worst 2 weeks of my life. You can imagine, you had 2 weeks to come up with experiencing KadMap, collaborating on it, having the audio, the cursor, the charts, man, it was not easy, man, but me came out where we overcame it, and it was really worth it. It was worth it.
One of my roles is the documentation controller, so a lot of documents come through my desk. So initially I'll just dump things anyhow, and when there is a request for the document, I start looking through where did I keep it. I thought I saw this thing somewhere. So that was one of my challenges. There was a point we were doing a product video, so there is need for us to do storyboarding for the product, so that while the product is going, the images and all of that, images are related to the text. That's the first time I'm doing something like that. So initially what I did was totally crappy. So again, I was told to go back and do it again. Progress report. And that one too, that was the first time, and I didn't start off well. I was doing a lot of mistakes. In fact, I was working with the CEO directly, so there was a time he had to call, even weekends. When I submitted the progress report, there were mistakes, he corrected it, I submitted. So many mistakes, he had to call me during the weekend. I was working online with him, so he was telling me what to do and all of that. So that was embarrassing, but it's a challenge, so I had to overcome it. So that was how I learned how to do the progress report according to the standard of the company. Working with the CEO, the way he explains things and the way me I understand things are not exactly the same. I'm a practical person. I understand practical faster than abstract, and the CEO explains more of abstract than practical. I love this kind of challenge because it will give me an edge. I will learn something new.
The first time I came into KadMap, so it was my CEO wanted to tell me that I should do so stuff. He used to there's some big grammars he used to use inside. And those big grammars, most times I don't used to understand it, but I'll just pick some few words from inside. Okay, like for example now, there was a time I came new. He was telling me to do a wallpaper for KadMap and all that. So he was speaking another grammar entirely. I don't even understand what's going on, but all what I picked inside that place was just do wallpaper for KadMap. The other ones he was saying I didn't hear anything. I just do my own, then I did the wallpaper, and then he selected the ones he wants from this, and then from there I started picking up his grammar. There was a particular video we were supposed to do for KadMap, a presentation video to do. So that was a very big challenge for me. It took me like almost 2 months plus to just do that particular video. Every day I'll be staring at one thing every day, one place every day. We still try to blend with it, because doing one thing every day, you get tired of it. But still, we thank God, we did everything, we finished the video.